Found North Peregrine sits here in front of me today. Guys, I was not able to review this one last year. However, big shout out to my patron member, Evan Day, for supplying me with this sample here to review on the channel. Guys, this is a blend of 20 to 27-year-old whiskeys that were finished in ex-cognac, new American oak, and then French limousine casks. Comes in at 126.2 proof. Mash bill on this one is 76% corn, 23% rye, and then 1% malted barley. Definitely excited to get into this one, guys. Without further ado, let's go. So the blend on this Peregrine is very unique. It started out with a 20-year-old rye whiskey that was finished in ex-Speyside casks, a 22-year-old corn whiskey, a 23-year-old corn whiskey that was put into refilled oak barrels, and then a 27-year-old corn whiskey that was finished in Hungarian oak. Again, this one comes in at 126.2 proof. Very unique. Let's get in the nose. So on the nose, like further into the glass, it reminds me of like a salted butter, but with like fruit covered in like a salted butter. A lot of fruit notes coming through. Could be a lot of that rye, but there's also very sweet, and again that butteriness, which would obviously come from that corn whiskey. And then further away, more of those fruit notes really start to kind of take shape. You lose a little bit of that sweetness further away from the glass and pick up a little bit more of that that rye, I feel. But then again, further into the glass, you get more of that sweetness, that like buttery kind of salted fruit a little bit. Beautiful nose on this one though. Let's get to the palate. Cheers. Wow, so there's a lot going on the palate on that first sip. First off, that I feel like it drinks at a higher proof point, but very mouth coating. It kind of extracts like the water there inside your mouth. So on the front of the palate, you do get hit with a quick kind of burst of like fruit sweetness, and then it transitions really quickly into that sharp kind of rye. Then on the back of the palate, there's like that buttery kind of smell that I was getting. I'm starting to get that like there on the back of the palate, and it's really making that finish kind of linger on. It's kind of dragging those spices, some of that black pepper further down. There is a slight kind of floral note there on the middle of the palate where some of that rye was kind of exposed. But then again, that kind of quickly transitions. It was all of that entire sip was a very kind of fast transition from the front all the way into the back of the palate. It's a really nice first sip. Let's get into the second one. So there on that second sip, as the spiciness kind of died down, there's a new kind of spice that's kind of developed, and I feel like maybe some of that Hungarian oak. It's a very unique kind of spice that sits there where I get a lot of those citrus notes on the sides of the palate, and it's just kind of like hugging on to the sides there. It almost reminds it is oaky, but it's also spicy at the same time. So it's giving you some of that some of that older whiskey is kind of showing up in there, but then also that the baking spices that kind of come along with what it was finished in. Still getting some of that like black pepper there onto the back of the palate. A little bit of fruitiness. It's not super fruity. I figured it would be, but that buttery feel and like that flavor is still kind of lingering there across the back of the palate. It's actually kind of stuck. That really hasn't moved too much, but it is helping those flavors kind of transition from that middle of the palate and then down into the finish. But it's a really the whiskey hits you very differently. It's a very quick transition across the palate. I've never really experienced that with too many whiskeys, but it's just like flavor here, flavor here, flavor here, flavor here, then into the finish. And then like as it gets to the back, that slow kind of like buttery viscosity is kind of slowly pulling flavors down. It's a long finish on this one, which is nice because this is something that you could actually sit and enjoy for a little while and not have to go back and take sip after sip to enjoy those flavors. Let's get the last sip, guys. Cheers. So there's a lot of flavors going on this thing. So as that sip transitions into the finish, like I started to pull out some saffron there on the center of the palate, some like dark honey, a little more floral starts to show up there on the middle of the palate where that rye was kind of dominating. Slight kind of fruit notes. I can't really kind of pick out what it is. But then again, that black pepper, there's a little bit of cinnamon there on the back of the palate. This is a very unique and evolving whiskey. This is a bottle I wish I would have picked up just to see how the flavor changes as the bottle starts to get lower. But all three of these sips, I started to pull out something different, and it was transitioning across the palate in different ways. That's something I really like about whiskeys. Again, like having consistency is nice, but then also having very unique pours that can really kind of play with the palate is also something that's it's kind of experimental, right? And it's nice to have something like that that'll change on you over time and change on you sip after sip. Hell of a release here, though, by Fountain North. So I want to thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. I want to give a big shout out to my patron member, Evan Day, for giving me this sample here to review on the channel. Guys, this Fountain North is absolutely fantastic. I wish I would have got a bottle when it was released, but maybe next time, if they release another Peregrine in the future, I might go ahead and hop on that very quickly. But guys, if you're looking for more reviews like this, hit that subscribe button, bell notification to be alerted of any upcoming reviews or live streams. You also find me on Instagram at Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. Until next time, guys, stay dusty.